Islam Moors, Grand Rising. Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National here. Um, hmm, interesting. Interesting, right? I'm doing this live today. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds for people to jump on. Um, I stay quiet on purpose. I stay to myself on purpose. I've already instructed you, Moors, that. What did I say? I said I'm not political. I am not a politician. I am a Moorish American national under the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world. And our mission here is to uplift fallen humanity. Well, some of humanity don't realize they fell because of their arrogance and their sin. And the Circle 7 gives you a lot of information as it relates to that. And like I always say, I'm not political, so I'm going to say things the way they need to be said and the way people need to hear them because of positions that individuals have been placed in. They just have this natural entitlement. They just have this natural this entitlement that because I've been operating in a particular fashion for such a long time that I can continue to do that going on into the future. And sometimes it takes people who can look at the whole picture and make a distinction and make an opinion or a movement to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. Right? Especially when you gain knowledge. When you gain knowledge, your job is to illuminate the world with the knowledge for which you gained, right? My job is to, as a Moorish American national, as your brothers and your sisters, or as your sovereign, if you are a Moorish subject ipso jure, which is everybody else who's here outside of status, right? There was an event. Whether it was planned, orchestrated, it just happened, is a moot point. We have to stay on the principles of it, the particulars of it, and the lawfulness of it, right? My job is not to sit here and look and point fingers at anyone, because the reality is all of these Moorish organizations who are pointing at other Moorish organizations are in breach of duty. They are in breach of trust, and they are in violations of the same laws that they were presumed to be put in position to uphold, right? So when you call yourself something, you are held to the energies that that so-called office represents, regardless of if you are there in that office to spread truth or lies. You're going to be held to everything that you say. So make sure the things that you say respect and honor you, or at the very least, respect and honor from the one you came from. I'm doing this social media live platform not because I wanted to. I'm doing it because I ought to. But it shouldn't just be me doing it. It should be a multitude of Moors putting up the truth, right? Because we have a lot of corporations saying things, right? And their job is to distract you new Moors, as well as you Moors who haven't currently declared or proclaimed your nationality. So it's meant to distract you. It's not only meant to distract you, it's meant to deter you. But the realities are, if you know who you are, and you know that your mom, your spirit, your God is telling you to be yourself, and somebody comes out there and says, oh, look what happened to these Moors down here, you know, if you competent, and if you are studied, and if you don't jump to every bait or trap that's set out there for you, right? Because they wanted to bait us out, right? They wanted to bait us over here to make a statement. Well, why? I'm not going to be coerced by individuals who can't even quote law, who can't even quote facts, whose job, based on how they portray themselves, and more importantly, based on the things that they say, proves they're agents, foreign agents, Well, they're in violation of the FARA. I've been talking about that. They're in violation of the law. And their job is to keep you in violation of the law. So they will never have to stand up and defend the things that they said, the things that they put on social media. They don't have to stand up to it. So their job ultimately is to keep you, Moors, from declaring, proclaiming your nationality and doing the things that you ought to have already been on. And these incorporated Moorish Science Temples of America violated you first, right? And right now, they're violating you still because their allegiance is not to their people. Their allegiance to a foreign municipality, to a foreign government based on how they aligned themselves and how they completed their incorporations. Well, right now, the corporation, because they've been getting their butt kicked by the liens that we've been processing, absolutely. Because you're the God. And the God is the government, the ordinances, and the departments. That's what you are, Moors. And they know that's what you are because they had to create a fake you, which is the nomen, the name. They had to create a fake you in order to operate on your estate. That is proof enough to know how powerful you are. So it doesn't matter what a person says on social media. Their job is to create propaganda. So what did the FARA come out for? The FARA came out for, it was established and we consent to that. It came out to let you know what organizations or corporations that are operating here at Morocco have foreign allegiance, as well as anybody so-called employed to them. They have also foreign allegiance. And I'm going to stop for a couple of seconds and say, please share this video. Because this video is also in relationships to media outlet, so-called reporters who've contacted me directly for a statement. Well, I don't make statements to individuals who are at a legal disability for me to be communicating with and who are outside the constitutional folds of governments based on how they've aligned themselves, right? But we have many of them and they will be handled because this is notice to agent, is notice to principal. So for all you social media outlets, regardless of how you've been identified, if you're going to sit here and create propaganda against the de jure government, the Moroccan Empire, as well as the Moorish American nationals, you're going to be held to those violations because it's defamation of character and it is warring against the state, the government, and the people. And the people are the Asiatics. The people are those claiming to be black, Negroed, and colored. I posted on my social platform on the website where you can go to get the facts. So it's no point for any so-called news reporter to ask me any questions. The law is all you need to be upholding, and you will know the truth by that. So I'm going to state for the record, the Rise of the Moors is an organization assisting in the uplifting of fallen humanity. So based on their own admission, and I will tell you what they say about themselves on their own website. Give me a second. Oops. I'm going to find that document, so it's going to take a minute because I forgot where I put it, right? Forgot what I named it also. So we have to stop sitting here trying to push an agenda. My agenda, my mission is to uplift fallen humanity. That's all Asiatics claiming to be Negro, colored, and black. And that's also all Albions claiming to be white persons, which they are not. They're foreigners. They're immigrants, or immigrants with an I. They came here from their government on commercial contract. They're here on commercial contract, and they're all should be recorded and entered into the FARA because they have foreign allegiance. That means a lot, Moors, and you have to understand what that means. When they have foreign allegiance, when they have foreign allegiance, that means they have declared their allegiance to a foreign government. And to declare your allegiance to a foreign government means you have naturalized outside of your de jure status and into a foreign status, which means all you can do here is commercial activities. You cannot be in any form of government. You cannot hold any office of trust of the people because you have disassociated yourself with that commercial agreement. If we understand what the Constitution for the United States of America and the Treaty of Peace and Friendship means. Now, there was accusations. You have to look at people for their incompetence. The world is grossly incompetent, and it's an incompetence. And it's an incompetency that they choose to have because there's information everywhere, specifically on my platform, that will assist you in not being stupid, not being an idiot, not being incompetent, being at the age of maturity. And the age of maturity means you know how to operate in an organized society with laws that support the unity as well as the peace and tranquility within that environment. So when individuals make comments, it is funny. Because as soon as I don't even have to finish reading your article. One, because you're at a legal disability to be heard. Meaning, what you say don't matter. But because my job is to uplift fallen humanity, is to let you know when you are being an idiot. And understanding what an idiot means. I'm not going to tell you what it means. Go look it up. Because if you don't have a status and if you don't have a nationality legally or lawfully to be here, you are an idiot. I didn't say it. The law said it. So let me go find this document that I've been looking for, but I haven't been able to locate. But it was a document that I'm working on. It was a rebuttal. It was a rebuttal for everything that is going on right now as it relates to Rise of the Moors. And I'm going to put on the record that Rise of the Moors, like I said, is an organization, but they're not affiliated with the Moorish American Consulate. They're not affiliated. They are an organization that is outside of us. And I started a statement, but I'm going to start with Rise of the Moors mission. Their mission is what? Rise of the Moors mission, which is under Jamal Abdullah Bey, who is a Moorish American national. So his mission is this. We are Moorish Americans dedicated to in educating new Moors and in influencing our elders. Now, why is that their main mission? Well, because you have temples. Because what is a temple? Does anybody know what a temple is? It's you, Moors. You are the Moorish Science Temple. It's not an organization. It is not a building. And nobody can claim a supremacy of that. It's for all Moors. If you read the literature, if you read it and can actually interpret what it's saying, and you don't have a prior, what's the word I'm looking for? Motive. You will read it the way it was intended for you to receive that information. Right? Because the Moorish Science Temple is you more, is me more. It is not a physical building. It is not that. Right? But we're going to get to the incorporated, which is why I make that distinction. Incorporated Moorish Science Temples. You don't have to believe anything that I say. Look into the record. You can validate it all. Because every so-called grand sheik, and I'm putting air quotes because they're not grand sheiks. Because a grand sheik would never, on purpose, incorporate his Moorish organizations that was meant to uplift fallen humanity. It was meant to uplift fallen humanity. How can you uplift fallen humanity when you yourself, by the way you identified and created that organization and you incorporated it? And if you don't know what a United States citizen is, wow, it is property. Because we know what the United States of America is. We know what the United States is based on law, babies, not on opinion or facts. They're never going to quote facts to you, Moors. They're going to quote something that everybody knows, and they're going to distort it, right? But the people are the reasons why they're able to distort it, because you are at a legal disability and your competencies are at such a low level that they're able to deceive you. So let me finish. The reasons why the Rise of the Moors is here is because the Moorish Science Temples incorporated themselves. Many of them. And I'm not talking about the original that the Prophet created and established at a time where Moors, wow, they couldn't even read the garbage that was being put out there. They couldn't even read that. So let's be honest to the status of the Moors at that particular point, why Prophet Noble Jew Ali had to dumb down his literature because of the state of mind the Moors were at that particular time of the year. Because he was born when? He was manifested out of the womb in the Stargate of an Asiatic woman in 1886. And he established the Moorish Science Temple to do what? We all know that. We all agree on that. To uplift fallen humanity. You cannot uplift fallen humanity if you have not first uplifted yourself. If you have not first uplifted yourself, how can you uplift anyone else? You can't do it. Absolutely can't. So, Rise of the Moors established that. To uplift fallen humanity, because when you go to the so-called incorporated temples, they were not doing anything to help you in liberating yourself, as they are in breach. Well, we know they're in breach when they incorporated. And if you don't believe me, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to know exactly what I'm saying to be fact, so you can look and validate that for yourself. You don't need me to validate it for you. It's in the public record. I told you this last week, Moors. Because they are snakes waiting to pounce on you. And because they're arrogant, because they've been doing it for such a long time, and we've been letting them with impunity do it because we haven't been challenging any of them. They put all of the information on the World Wide Web for you to crucify them. So the question is more, why aren't you crucifying them? If you've read the Circle 7, and if you can get past one freaking verse, if you can get past the one verse, meaning don't read the one verse and take it out of context, read the whole chapter and dissect what he said in that document as it relates to Moors. But if you want to know what our true problem is, Moors, you got to go to the last 3 chapters. And then the first one, they don't have a chapter number. Tells you how you fell. Tells you how we fell. Through the things that we're going through right now. Through the Asiatics that are operating those 501c3 incorporated temples. Because they incorporated, which means they're under the jurisdiction of the corporate United States, which means what? They are property. And property have to come out to talk to the Moors so they can get you to stop being yourself. And they work for these Albions. Do I got to be clear? Do I have to be a little bit more clear? They've incorporated, y'all. They're at a legal disability to help you. So when you go there, their job is to put you right back into compliance, just like the Christian churches. You're already subject to the Christian black codes because you don't have a status. And then you go there looking to get your status, and they keep you in compliance. And you don't have to believe a thing I say. You need to know what I'm saying to be truthful. You need to go to that www.moorishamericanconsulate.org website, because it tells you right there. Or under the Moorish ipso jure tab, it tells you what a citizen. I mean, do we need to do all of this research? I mean, I could do it. I plan on being here for a minute. I know I rerouted off of Jamal's statement as it relates to the rise of the Moors in their mission, and they're not more sovereign citizens. There's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. And they know that. So when you hear this language, Moors, you already know they are foreign. They are foreign agents under contract with different governments to keep you and me from operating in our nobility, so they can do what ultimately? What is the ultimate goal? Control the wealth of the Moors and operate here with impunity. Have you been losing enough brothers and sisters and mothers and daughters? And have you been losing enough? They put it all on social media. All your sons that they kill. Your daughters that they incarcerate. The families that they separate. They do it. They show you don't give a damn about you. The question is, why are you aligning yourselves with people who don't care about you? Because you got a little comfort, privilege within their so-called vault of being property? Well, we know what they did at the Trail of Tears. We know what they did to the so-called Indians, which are you, Moors. Indian is code for Moor. We know what they did to those who got into agreements with these colonizers. They killed you. They killed you. Like I said, like I said, y'all need to be able to read things. Y'all need to be able to use discernment. Y'all need to be able to read. And don't get mad at me because I know 90% of y'all don't know how to read. Y'all go on social media and prove it. Do you not? A reporter contacted me. I won't give that individual weight because they are at a legal disability to be even recognized as being a human. So I won't recognize them. But they asked me a question. The one question they asked me was, are you affiliated with Rise of the Moors? No, we're not. Absolutely we're not. But if they are declared, proclaimed Moorish American nationals, which I can't validate at this point, then they are my brothers, and it is my responsibility as their sisters to assist them pursuant to Article 25 of the Circle 7. So it is all of our jobs to assist even those so-called people claiming to be grand sheiks. You can't be a grand sheik if you're not doing what the Constitution and bylaws that were established and set down by Prophet Noble Jew Ali told you to do. It told you in what? Article 1. What did it say in Article 1? Do I got to bring all this stuff up? Y'all gonna make me do all that? I'll do it. You just gotta wait a second. I'll bring it up. You got it? Oh, shucks. You're gonna bring out the heavy artillery. Please bring it up. I would rather have it in print so I ain't gotta keep bouncing back and forth. Because I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. And I don't need people to give me comments. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, y'all gonna know this. Y'all so used to operating in dishonor. Y'all only gonna quote what corporate stuff is, because that's all you know. You don't know nothing else. So that's all you quote. I'm just gonna say that. Y'all gonna get mad at me. Like I told you, I'm not a politician. I'm gonna say what needs to be said the way it needs to be said so you can hear the words coming out of my mouth. Right? So anyway, back to the affidavit. The main focus of Rise of the Moors is to perform all things related to and appropriate to portraying the overall history of our ancestry. The Olmecs, the Moabites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, etc. Informing all Moors of their political status here in Morocco, the most extreme West America. Enlighten the minds of the fallen Moors, restoring them their in full life, impropria persona sui juris status, as opposed to mentalities of minors who is civilir mortuus, which means in the eyes of the law, you are dead. That's anybody operating as a Negro, colored, black, white, etc. You're dead in the eyes of the law. To promote a collective of Moorish Americans and connecting them to the Rise of the Moors social and economic platform to promote the use of moral principles in the branches of knowledge dealing with ethical awareness. To encouraging all Moorish Americans to believe, well, to know, actually, I'm going to correct that, in the capacity of each other to succeed in business, to encourage, support, provide patronage in our affairs. Our business endeavors will achieve its highest and fulfillment in confidence with the cooperation and patronage of all nationals, and especially emphasizing when possible between other Moorish Americans. That's directly taken off of his website. You can go fact check that. I implore all Moors, as well as Albions acting like reporters and journalists when you don't even know how to fact check facts. How do you not know how to fact check facts? Because there's a multitude of things that I'm going to go into, as well as to let all so-called public platforms and public social platforms such as news outlets that defame Moors. This is notice of intent to lien. Your liens are already being processed. Know this to be fact, because I know how much power I have as an Asiatic, as a sovereign, as your Lord and your God. And you can be mad at me the way I said it, how I said it. I don't care. I know my power. And I know my power, and my job is to teach you what your power is. It's the same power that I have. And guess what told you this? Circle 7 Quran. If you don't read that, give me the Circle 7 Quran, because I think I need to read that. That Circle 7 Quran is right up there. I just put it back up there.
It's not there.
Oh, it is.
Upstairs.
I didn't. Oh man. So okay, give me. I'm going to go find the Circle 7 Quran. I'm gonna have everything pulled up on this platform. Y'all need to know what your power is. This platform is not to talk to people at a legal disability. This platform and this public announcement is to talk to you Moors, because you all I care about. All these people operating outside of status and outside of the supreme laws of the land, you're just being put on notice that if you don't get back in alignment, then you're just really going to have a hard time. And I didn't say that. Mom said that. Prophet Nobuju Ali said it. I'm teaching Moors how to be themselves. I'm teaching you how to be yourself. And there's no so-called organization outside of you that can have jurisdiction over you. Unless you waive it. Why would you waive it? These people have already told you they don't give a damn about you. They've already shown you they are in complete breach of duty, of trust, and of peace and harmony. They've told you to your face based on their claiming ignorance to the very document that gave them a standing here commercially. I'm going to keep saying that, y'all, commercially. Because all your little heirs and all your family members ain't supposed to be here. Just you were supposed to be here to do business as it relates to that contract, which is the Constitution for the United States of America Republic. North, what'd you say? He's just looking at me. And if you don't want to be in alignment, leave. I keep trying to say that. You ain't got to stay here. You don't got to be here. I'm sure your family members would love for you to come back home. Probably not. Probably kick you out. But give me a second. I'm going to the Circle 7 Quran. Oh, look at this. Right there. I had to go on the website to go get it. Just so y'all know. If I can't quickly find what I'm looking for, I just go Google it. Like I said, it's out there for y'all. All the information is out there for y'all. It's on the website. I ain't feel like going to the website, and that's probably where I should have went to go find it. Anyway, we're going to read the first chapter that has no number. This is my favorite chapter that has no number. It said, know thyself and the Father thy God. I ain't reading that. I'm going to read down to the part that y'all need to understand, the creation and the fall of man. Knowing why you fell and why we're in the transition and rising, which is why it's called uplifting fallen humanity, because it fell. And it fell how? By operating outside of itself. So Moors, when we operate outside of ourselves under those tags that delude to slavery, because why? Why does it delude to slavery? Why is you referring to yourself as a nom de guerre? Slavery. There's a lot of things. How do you... Why people think I need to read the comments? I don't really read the comments. But anyway, the creation and fall of man. A time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject unto change. All finite things will cease to become to be, because at one time they were not. The bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change ye from the finite point of view. The time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is the spirit and a part of man. Creative fate gave to man, to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative faith give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative faith give to soul a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? They're trying to tell you it's three. Hear ye, worlds, dominions, powers, and thrones. Hear ye, seraphims and seraphims, and angels, and ye men. Hear ye, protoplast and earth and plant and beast, creeping things of the earth, fish, birds that fly, winds that blow, thunders and lightnings of the sky, spirits of the fire, of the water, of the earth, and of the air. Hear now, O everything that is or was or evermore will be, for wisdom speaks from out the highest plane of spirit life. Man is but a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for things that are concerned with time begin and end, which means time is an illusion. The thought of Allah are the everlasting of the past unto the ever never-ending days to come, and so man is the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah, Just as the seed of all plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant, so spirit man, as seeds of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. Oops. Now, seeds are perfect, ye, as perfect as the source from which they come. But they are not unfolded into into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deep planted in the soil that he might grow, unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord of plane of soul, and the plane of things made manifest. Please stick with me more as I'm trying to make a point. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear, the plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane vibrating not so fast. And in the slower rhythms of that plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and odors, the true sensations, and all of love manifest. And these souls attributes become a body beautiful. A multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundaries of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still, and then the essence took on a final garb. The perfumes and the odors and the true sensations and all of love were clothed with flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, and so a carnal nature was full manifested, a nature that sprang forth from fleshy things. Without a foe, listen carefully. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength, so you're going to be tested. And thoughts must be developed by the exercise of strength. So in order for you to develop your thought and exercise it, you got to be active, Moors. And so that carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight. They're talking about the flesh, y'all. That he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. I'm going to quote this. Man is the Lord of all the planes of manifest, of protoplast, of mineral, of plant, of beast. But he gave up his birthright just to gratify his lower self. How are you gratifying your lower selves, Moors and Moorish subjects, ipso jure? Why do you not know what you are? Why do you not know who you are? Because you're gratifying yourself in your lower self, right? You're in sin. We're in sin, which is why we all, including the Albions, they're slaves too. They're just trying to act like they're in a privileged status, and many of them are not. Many of them are not. I can tell you this with certainty.
But man.
But man. You say, but man, where am I at?
But man.
I'm looking for it.
Middle of the page.
Oh, I said the plane of manifest, protoplast. Okay, but gave up his birthright just to, okay. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage. But he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yea, he must suffer trials and temptations manifold. But let him know that cherubims and seraphims that rule the stations of the sun and the spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the stars, the solar stars, are his protector and his guide. And they will lead to victory. They're trying to tell you, get back into astrology, because that is your roadmap back to salvation. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffers on this plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When he has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose and will fall and be no more. Right? So man is dealing with fleshly, sinful desires. Let's call it desires. We can call it a multitude of things. Then he will stand untrampled on the plane of soul, where he must complete his victories. Unnumbered foes will stand before him upon the plane of soul. These he must overcome. Ye overcome them, each and every one. Thus hope will ever be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on and victory is assured. You can't fail, Moors. God is telling you can't fail. God is also telling you are the rulers of everything. So what you think of and what you speak will absolutely happen. So Moors, why are we creating this current paradigm? Because we created it, did we not? We are the authors of it, are we not? They don't want you to know your power. They don't want you to know how powerful you are. I tell you to watch certain movies, not to sit here and say, oh, just go watch a movie. It's to educate you on certain aspects that this is trying to tell you. You control the weather. You control everything. And you control the beast. So the question is, why are you not controlling it, Moors? And the beast first starts here, in here. You first got to control this beast, which is self. Right? Can't control nothing outside of yourself if you can't control self. And I'm talking about your carnal, sinful ways. That has its root in many things that we do every day that is sinful to us and not in honor. Man cannot die. Man cannot die. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, the seed will have fully opened out, will have unfolded in the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore. And it will pass and be no more, and man will then attain up unto the blessedness and perfectedness and be at one with Allah. So our ultimate goal is to go back home, Moors. That is our ultimate goal. This is not home. This is just a staging ground for you to elevate your overstanding as it relates to you and your perfectedness, for you to be yourself. And overstand all of this corporate nonsense is not needed. It's supposed to be destroyed. Because man is powerful by himself and need no Lord. You are the Lord. How you need a Lord? You are Lord. You are God. I'll be honest, know that. Why you think they spend all of their resources, all of it, on deceiving you and getting you to do what they tell you to do? What, baby?
9 and 10.
9 and 10?
Chapter 3, 9 and 10.
So now we got chapter 3, the unity of life. Chapters 9 and 10. Oh, baby, you went there, huh?
I did. I had to.
The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifested. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is that what the higher self is not. Fatima Yasmin El-Basir Bey just gave that to me. Exactly. You know who's operating in their higher self and their lower self based on the words that come out of their mouths and the things that they profess and claim. Right? So if you're claiming that there's no such thing as a treaty of peace, how the hell? There's many treaty of peaces. Shucks, you got the treaty of peace of Paris. How, if there's no such thing as a treaty of peace and friendship, well, damn. Do you know what the Treaty of Paris did for you, Albions? Did you know what that treaty did? But do you know what it didn't do also? Which you're wanting to be separate from Great Britain? Oh my God, we just found out some stuff today. Oh my God, Moors. Everything is yours. You just gotta seize it. We seizing it down here. Ain't no clubism. Moors, the biggest situation that you're dealing with is schisms. And you're allowing the Albions to deceive you because of their agenda. How their agenda become your agenda? Now, if you're listening to any Moorish Science Temple that's been incorporated, you're listening to a foreign agent under allegiance to a foreign municipality whose job is to deceive you more. So you got a lot of people, which is why I don't wear turbans and I don't wear fezzes and I don't get all garbed up, is because I don't want to deceive you. I don't want you to think that just because I wear my Moorish garb, that gives me authority. It does not. Nor does the title alone. So the title doesn't give it, the way you dress doesn't give it, how big your so-called organizations doesn't give it, how many so-called members of your organizations doesn't give it. What gives it is the words that come out of your mouth, and based on those words that come out of your mouth, you'll know if you're in your higher self, and you'll know if you're in your lower self, and if they're lying to you, they're in their lower self, and you shouldn't be listening to them. And that's for all this social media. Their one defense, their only defense is to deceive you into not being yourself. And they have put everything in that. All these social platforms where people can sit there and say, oh, I'm a reporter from here, or I'm a reporter from there. There's no such thing as a treaty of peace and friendship. If there's no such thing as a treaty of peace and friendship, that means you're here illegally. And you don't have a status to be here because that treaty was what preceded the Constitution, the commercial agreement. So we had to first come up with a treaty of peace so we would have harmony. And that's what the treaty of peace and friendship is. Now, because of your lack of understanding and your lack of knowledge, you think it's only in relationship to C.
Turn it down. On the side.
If you understand, when the Albions wanted independence, it was independence commercially. It was independence commercially from Great Britain. They didn't want to be taxed. I mean, you could go into the research as it relates to the situations that stipulated the intolerable acts that were established under Great Britain's rule as it relates to commerce, and they didn't want to be under that commercially. They wanted their own voice as it relates to that. And that's all we're talking about when we talk about government. Right? So 4th of July just passed. Every day they reaffirmed that allegiance. And in the Declaration of Independence, they swore everything to us. Their fortune, their lives, everything for that independence from Great Britain in order to have an independent commercial agreement. That's where the Constitution for the United States actually originated. But do we recall those original plantations, what authorized them? They're called charters. The charters from what? What was the king at the time? King George? Was it King George? King George established charters, which are licenses. Charters and licenses to do business. It was a company. We know companies only exist on paper, right? So the charter was an agreement to come together to create this business, but it's in name only, right? So when they came here, they were under charter. So that was the authority that gave them passage through the seas to get here and to come and do business with the Moroccan Empire. So that's how they didn't automatically die when they got here, because they had agreements commercially through the charters. But they wanted to be released from them charters, right? They wanted to be released from those organizations, right? Fati?
Yes.
They wanted to be released, right?
Yes.
And that's why they fought for their allegiance, right? We helped them with that, obviously, because we were the nationals here. We assisted them with their oh, now she want to call. We assisted them with that. No, Pam. We assisted them with that, right? We can prove that the Confederacy Constitution is what the Constitution for the United States of America is based on. It was the women, the mothers, who authorized it through the sons. how they got commissioned, right? The Iroquois Confederacy will tell you that, right? So when they asked for to be released from those original charters, now they don't have any charter. Fatima, come on, help me out with this part. You all in another world.
I am reading.
In another world.
I'm reading.
Tell me what I need to say as it relates to that. You showed it to me. Anyway.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Never mind. I will go on.
I'm studying.
I will
Never
go
stops.
on. So let's go back to Rise of the Moors. We can go back to what we originally came here to talk about. Because there was 3 accusations. 1, are you affiliated with the Rise of the Moors? No, we're not. And then I'll continue with the rest because I read their statement. Their statement is to uplift fallen humanity. That is their purpose and their charge, right? This was taken directly from the website from the organization Rise of the Moors, whose head is the declared Moorish American national Jamal Abdullah Bey, per his own declaration. He's not. Jamal is not affiliated with the Moorish Science Temple. However, at one point he was a member in 2018. But that relationship has since dissolved in 2018. And we have the documentation to validate that. But we don't validate with people who have a legal disability. I just don't do it. It's unnecessary. The Moorish American movement is known officially as the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, and its sole mission is to educate and uplift fallen humanity. It was established by Moors to assist our people to the realizations that the labels of black, Negro, colored, etc., including white, are not how humans are to be identified in society. These are tags and names that delude to slavery, as human beings are identified through their nationality, of which ties them to land, history, and culture. 1, and this is quoted from Dr. John Henry Clark. If one answers to such words as Negro, colored, black, white, etc., you have no nationality. You just denationalize yourself by the very acknowledgement of that. Due to the gross ignorance as a nation, many immigrants and foreigners, such as every reporter, and I was directly addressing this particular individual who I'm not going to name,
Just leave it there.
who came here to do commerce by way of this international contract, the Constitution for the United States of North America in 1791, are not aware of your responsibilities. So I'll be honest, you're not aware of your responsibilities to the people, us the Moors, based on the oaths and allegiances you and your ancestors pledged to the Moroccan Empire. And there's documents out there that substantiates everything that I'm saying. I don't have to talk off the hip, and I can quote all types of references, and I don't need to quote them on this platform. Go to the MoorishAmericanConflict.org website. It has it all there. And what is the letter that one of their so-called founding fathers for their commercial agreement, what did he say? What was the letter that he sent? Do we have a copy of that letter that we can read on this platform? Do we have a copy of that letter? I have it. I don't think I put it on the website yet, Morris. Every 4th of July, all the people of the Northwest continent celebrate and reaffirm that pledge and allegiance. See the Declaration of Independence 1774, where our ancestors assisted Albions in uplifting themselves from under the rule commercially to Great Britain, to form their own political commercial independence here at Morocco, and our people entered into the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which preceded the Constitution, as to show how interactions were to be conducted as it relates to commerce between Moors and citizens of the United States of America. Islam? And I also further went in to say, on Saturday, the 3rd of July, 2021, 11 Moorish American nationals, per their own declaration in the videos that we've had. I don't know which Moors were unfortunately detained, because there's been no real report out there to let us know who was detained. They placed them under nom de guerre status, right? So they placed their nom de guerres in these news outlets. That's defamation of character. That's fraudulating documents, because they told you who they were, right? They told you who they were. And you, in your records and in your reporting, defamed them. So all these organizations and these journalists should be leaned. I shouldn't have to do all these liens and more. Y'all need to get your pen game up, because it can't be just us over here, the judiciary over here, that's assisting Moors here on the Northeast as it relates to how to identify, as it relates to how to rebut all these fictitious claims, right? Because you can't sit here and make a claim for me that I rebut. Your presumptions are dead. You have no courts at law. They're Nias Prius courts. Any court that's upholding statutes is a violation of the Constitution for the United States of America, because any so-called statutes of any state is notwithstanding if it violates with that commercial contract, because that is the original contract that gave all the other organizations the ability to be a part of the union. So you can't sit here and say, oh, I want to be a part of the union, but we're going to make our own laws over here. Well, no, that's not how it works. Commercially, we're only talking about commercial. So now all these Moors, who have declared or claimed their nationality, are being roped in with all these so-called black people who have not done that. And they're doing it by way of the nom de guerre. So that's why you have to consistently and always rebut their claims. So when they sit here and try to call you Sharon T. Gale, well, I'm Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, and I told you that for the record who I am. And if you defame me, well, I have a right to charge you with an offense and charge you financially for that, as this being a commercial enterprise. And that's the only purpose for you to be here. You have no de jure rights outside of that commercial contract. None. You're here for that. You are not here to create a legacy for yourself as it relates to your family. They're supposed to be over there in the UK. So no, we're not affiliated. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship is codified in the United States statutes. So how are you going to sit here and say that it doesn't exist? You can go, again, right to the Moorish American Consulate website on the home page, scroll down to the Supreme Laws, and it's right there. Do I have to go there and quote you for it? Right? And I didn't even get to the Moorish Science Temples, the incorporated Moorish Science Temples that are talking against their own government and against their own people. And why are they doing that? Because they've been incorporated. And if you go to any Department of State website in any of the so-called 50 corporate states, all you got to put in there is Moorish American Consulate.
In a bag. What?
I mean, not Moorish American Consulate, because they're not there. Put Moorish Science Temple of America. And we went to Georgia Corporations Division. Atlanta, Georgia. We went there, tapped in Moorish Science Temple of America. 12 came up. 12 incorporated organizations claiming to be sovereign governments, and they're not. They're incorporated. Do y'all know what incorporated means? It means you dissolved your sovereignty. You dissolved your sovereignty. So the Moorish organizations that went on public platforms trying to say that we are some rogue organizations trying to squat in domiciles when the land belongs to you is preposterous. Like I say, I don't give people any type of information as it relates to push negativity, because I am in my higher self. All I have is truth to give you based on what is there for you to grab. So this Moorish organization, this Moorish Science Temple of America number 19, was incorporated. It was incorporated back in 2007. And it's updated its annual registration in 2021. So they're current. Right? That's just the one that went on social platform and did a statement. Well, you're at a legal disability to make a statement to the American people, or to which are the Moors, because you are at a legal disability because you incorporated yourself, i.e. naturalized outside of your government. Do you know what that means? Do you know what incorporating means, which is why we tell you not to do any of those things? You're supposed to be your own court of record. You're supposed to have your own records as to what you are doing. So everything that they did, they nullified their sovereignty. So they're under the jurisdiction of the United States of America Corporation, which means they're in that trust. Do you understand what that means? I know many of you don't, because you don't come to class. We hold the classes. I've created the website and put all that information out there so you don't have to be told anything. Your job is to be yourself. And to be yourself means you're supposed to be competent. And you're supposed to know what's going on. You're supposed to realize what that birth certificate and that social security card is. You're supposed to know what that nomen is. That nomen is not you. It is a corporation that was fraudulently established when you were born, and your mother never gave authority for that to happen. She never knew that's what was going on, which makes all of that a nullity. And you wonder why right now they're asking for all that back. I want you to know there are no mistakes in anything. Islam.
Can you this for me?
Right? So you got all these Moorish science temples, these incorporated Moorish science temples coming out, going against their own people. They're agents for the crown, the Pope, or the major, what's the other guy? I can't remember his name. I'm working on so many different documents at one particular time that I forget what I'm working on. I don't forget what I'm working on. I forget what I'm talking about sometimes as it relates to what I'm working on. What's the other document that we were going over? It was an affidavit to accompany. We were working on an affidavit to accompany liens, right? And I'm going to read it. I have to. I have to do it only because I'm tired of the ignorance. I'm tired of Moors sitting here looking for the perfect organization to go to. No, it's no perfect organization. Because I'm going to call you an organization if you're not operating as a government. Huh?
Mayor of London.
Lord Mayor of London. There you go. Lord Mayor of London, the Pope, which is the Vatican, and the Crown. So all foreign agents are part of that governmental structure as property. You're not even in a position of being any authority. You're just property, and your job is to do what? Deceive the Moors, keep them discombobulated, disenfranchised, so they don't come together and control their wealth and their estate here. So all Albions that are here, yes, they're squatting.
That's the true squatters.
That's the true squatters. Can't no more be a squatter.
Not in their own
because
land.
This is your land. And all the so-called resources and materials that was in the labor that was utilized to establish all the domiciles, all the buildings, all the fixtures on our land was done based on those nom de guerres that were established under you. You're the authorized representative, which is why they have all these. Man, let me tell you, do you really want me to go there? Do you really? Are you ready?
Ain't ready.
Because we got babies dying. I mean, they're telling you this stuff to your face. And I was sitting here speaking with someone yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was 111. It's talking about how you can tell when a person is dead. When the people are dead. When they don't respond to death and carnage. When people can die in the streets, when your babies can be taken from you, when your brothers and sisters can be in adversity and you try to find a reason to validate and substantiate their adversity. You're dead. How about we come back to life? How about I'm already back to life? How about you come back to life? How about you stop fighting against yourself and against your nation because you have fear and you're in sin? And that hate is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Moors and Albions hate themselves. For whatever reason, it's not for me to say, it's for you to know and correct it. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. And we have to understand the only reasons why there's a such thing as an Albion and an Asiatic is selective breeding. That's it. Inbreeding. You want me to be specific? Because you shouldn't have any ailments. You shouldn't be Look, do you really want to hear what I have to say? Because I'm a Sag and I'm going to give it to you raw.
Give it to them. Because apparently they're not listening.
They're not. You want to sit here and get a benefit. You are the benefit. All you got to do is understand that's what you are. And you got to sit here, we got all these Moorish organizations acting like there's a race to the freaking finish line. We all getting there. I get there, you get there. You get there, I get there. Automatic. And that's how you should be seeing it. But because of the sin and the greed and the negativity and the hate you have for your fellow brothers and sisters is why you sitting here holding information, lying about this organization. And I just got paused. That would pause me for a second. We're supposed to be coming together. I'm open for unity. I require unity. I require us to come together. Right? You call me, I'm going to assist you no matter how much It may pain me to do it because you don't know how to talk. I have conversations with Moors and I'll be like, what did you just say? Because I didn't get it. I don't know what you're saying. And don't get mad at me because I'm going to put you right. And understand, if you haven't received any information back from me, it's because you sent it wrong and we either couldn't find you because you didn't send an information sheet. Moors, y'all got to do better. Y'all can't sit here and have these expectations on having somebody's undivided attention, right? You get my undivided attention, but then you just want to talk. Like, what? I don't do that. What's the issue? What have you done? Right?
And tell the truth.
And tell the truth. That is the biggest one. Higher self.
Jeez.
Tell the truth. If you have, what's the word? Ulterior motives, it's going to come out. It's already known.
Yep.
Just waiting for you to say it. I can't deal with anything unless you put it in my face and tell me.
Don't be so quick to jump on social media without knowing the truth.
And don't be so quick to jump on social media without knowing the truth. And this reporter asked me for questions, and I said, you know what? We can do two things. We can beat her at the head before she puts her social propaganda out there. Or we can see what she say. And we saw what she said, and we knew exactly what she was going to say. Because they are agents under the Vatican, the Queen, and the Lord Mayor London to deceive. Their whole mission is to deceive you, Moors, to not operate in your nobility so they can still, under the doctrine of discovery, hypothecate your wealth. Because right now, all law speaks to everything that we say on this platform. So any Moorish American Consulate Incorporated that's talking against it, well, one, you already know, they're either under the Queen, the Pope, or they're under the Lord Mayor of London through their incorporations as a so-called United States citizen. And understand, none of those so-called nationality cards should be calling you a United States citizen. And you should already know that before you go there to try to get naturalized, which is what you get, naturalized. You don't need to be adopted into some other nation. And you're not being adopted into a nation. You're being conveyed as property in a trust. That's what you're getting. So, yep, you're going to be subject to all those statutes that we talk about that are notwithstanding. Right? So when we talk about those Moors who I'm going to put on the record, we were not in agreements at all or in harmony at all with them operating that night on the 3rd of July the way that they did. It was not wise. And it was not wise, even though they had the lawful ability to do it. It wasn't wise because of the incompetence and the lack of constitutional people that they just didn't have the. Look, Albions are scared of you, Moors. Why are they scared? Well, we can prove why they're scared. We have rebellion on rebellion on rebellion, right? Because the Moors didn't want to be subject to those Albions. They deceived them. They deceived them and got enslaved, right? That's what happened. They got their commercial contracts and then they killed all the Moors. They killed you. They killed your ancestors. And then they enslaved the ones that they didn't kill. Okay? And they moved them around in ships that just circled the continent. Just circled the continent. Ain't take you nowhere. Right? That's what they did. And as a result of that, there were rebellions all over the place. Well, why were they rebelling? Because they were nobility. Well, how the heck they gonna be enslaved? They were killing the Albions. They were running around killing the Albions. Literally destroying communities. Did they have the right to? Absolutely they did. That was all they knew back then. Trying to fight for what was theirs. And to retake back what was theirs, and they had the right to do it. Right? So now let's talk about Jamal. Well, Albions are waiting for that. They think that's going to happen. They think we're going to kill them. Well, we're not. we're going to get you back into the constitutional fold of government, and the ones that do come back into the constitutional fold of government are going to get their brothers and sisters and move them back off the continent. That's what they're going to do. They're going to fix their own problem. They're going to fix their own distrust, what they did. We're going to stand out the way while they had their civil war, which is going on right now if you haven't noticed. So you're supposed to be staying out the way and not getting all up in the business. So that does mean you so-called Black Lives Matter Asiatic members, y'all need to leave. Leave that up to the Albions. They messed it up. They fix it. Your only job is to get back into the constitutional fold of government through nationality. That is your job, and to learn how to operate this estate, because it will be your responsibility to do it.
Can't get out.
Can't get out of it. So what did I say? You can't run around with fully loaded guns. It is not wise. It is not wise because the Albions are scared of a repeat of history. And Moors, you don't have to operate that way. Law supports you. Unification is all that is required. Unification and building back up the consular courts and building back up the de jure consuls so harmony can again exist on our land. And the one thing you need to stop Moors doing, as well as those who have not declared on paper, stop allowing the Albions to bait you into conversation and into arguments. I saw a Facebook Live a couple of days ago where an Albion was all up in an Asiatic's face talking about go back home. Like, I am home. You need to go back home. Right? But it got intense. Moors, you ain't got to go resort to violence, and you ain't got to display your power so abruptly, because we know we're dealing with violent gang members. And they will kill you. And they show you that on social media all the time. Ask your question, why not a gun? Why when you have fully loaded magnums, not a gun, not a shot was fired? Well, because it wasn't intended to. But I don't agree with how it was done. But that still does not give them the right to do what they did. So many reports are coming out on what happens, right? But at the end of the day, who is the lawful body on the land? Does anybody know that? Right? And the so-called violations that they had put on social media, I'm going to say that because it's probably a lie, or it might not be. Sometimes they do try to tell you the truth while they're trying to lie to you at the same time, right? But if they put those claims on those Moors under the so-called Namen, and they've rejected those jurisdictions, they were supposed to then be released. But I don't know what those Moors are saying. I don't know who they are. And that's it. That's on all the Moorish consulates. That's on all the Moorish governments that are not unifying their databases, which is what I've been talking about since 2019. So when something does happen, we can put it out there. Well, no, we got documentation to validate that this is a Moor. Coming on the Moorish American Consulate website, you'll be able to put in a Moor's appellation or their MAC number and find out who they are. Nationality documents, photo recognition, and the date of nationality, right? Because there's not going to be any deceptions where I'm concerned, where Fatima Yasmin El-Basir Bey is concerned, or where Tahir is concerned, or Teptu, the Supreme Judiciary in the Northeast, right? Our job is to uplift fallen humanity and give you all the information that you need to slay your beast, which is you as well as those who come against you. And understand those people who come against you are coming because they feel like they got a claim, right? Find out what that claim is. All right, you saying you got a claim to me or you got something? Prove it. Put it on the record. They ain't putting nothing on the record but lies because they called you a Namen. And you cleared it up for the record, right? And all they have control over is that so-called Namen you've been operating under your whole entire life, and they're trying to hold you to that. I don't know what they're talking about. You know, people are talking about stuff on the social platform. So understand that Rise of the Moors and those 11 individuals or 10 individuals who are with Jamal, they didn't do anything wrong. They were traveling in their private conveyances. They had arms, which they have the right to have. Nobody can tell you can't have arms, right? Now, if they were fully loaded or not fully loaded is a moot point, because no shot was fired, no injury was caused. Only a violation of a statute, which is a violation of the Constitution for the United States of America, which is not standing.
Edward Williams, Islam is not a religion.
Islam is not a religion. Islam is I self law and master. Islam is I self law and master. It's the study of you and me and yourself. That's all Islam is. So in religion, we need to stop using that word as if it's based on idolatry. I can't ever say that word. Worship. Religion is how you identify yourself. It's your nationality. It's what I self law in. You need to be under your nationality. Islam. That's all it is. So if you know yourself, you know your nationality. You know your nationality, you know the laws that govern that status. And you should be operating like that. But understand, there's a lot of Moors, a lot of Moorish organizations that are incorporated. A lot of Moors wearing turbans and fezzes and all garbed up. A lot of Moors who have buildings that talk about Moorish Science Temple when it's you. There's a lot of that out there to deceive you. Right? But you cannot be deceived if you know what you're talking about. And if you know law. And anybody who's talking about there's no treaty of peace, well, you know they're either an agent of the Vatican, the Queen, or the Lord Mayor of London. They're an agent under them. Because they're going against the laws that have already been established. Like I say, I don't have to sit here and tell you word for word, because we have classes to go over this kind of stuff. We have classes to go over all of this stuff for you Moors to get competent on how you need to be using your sword. This is your sword. This right here, a red one. This is your sword, right? This right here. This is how Goliath gets slayed, through what you write and what you say. You don't have to have a gun, which is the reason why we talk about you don't really need to make that display and force of power. They didn't need to do it back in the day when they didn't even have a status to do it, so they were all under Negro Black Code status. They were all under that. So of course they can't go out with firearms. You ain't got no status, so you subject to the Christian Black Codes. You got to ask permission for everything. And y'all Moors need to know that. And you need to stop letting Albions provoke you. So whenever an Albion get up in your face, just walk away. Ask them their name so you can lean them. If you don't think leans work, you don't work. Something's wrong with you. And if you got Moors talking about leans don't work, well, you got issues with you too. I know they work. That's why I do them. You don't want to do them, that's on you. You can do what you want to do. That's the beautifulness of sovereignty. I'm leaning all this corporate fraudulent activity off my land because I don't want it here. Because it's not supposed to be here. And if you are a so-called grand sheik or sheikess, you're supposed to be writing laws, which is what we do over here. You're supposed to be enforcing law, which is what the lien is. Because the lien is stopping individuals who are operating commercially based on the contracts that we've established in dishonor. That's why we do them. You don't want to do them, don't do them. That's on you. COVID is just a manifestation of those liens. Just so you know. A lien is what? Stops operation in business in its tracks. Ain't nobody going to borrow money. Ain't nobody going to lend you no money because they know they're not going to be the first secured party creditor. They don't own you. They don't have any collateral and they ain't got no skin in the game. Right? The United States is a corporation. Citizenship is just a word. A United States citizen is not a person's status. Okay? So to claim yourself to be a United States citizen is claiming absolutely nothing. You're supposed to be claiming your nationality. Right? Citizen means you know law. So to say I'm a United States citizen, that means I know the laws of the United States. Is that what that says? Isn't that what that says? What a citizen is? So if you know the laws of the United States, why are you breaking them all the time? If you're so-called United States citizens, that means that you're supposed to know the laws of the United States. You're supposed to know what the Constitution says. You're supposed to know all those things. Instead of vilifying our brothers who were detained unlawfully under statutes, which is a violation of their treaty and constitutionally protected rights, completely against it. They're being held as prisoners. They're being held as they were kidnapped. They're being kidnapped. And you Moors want to sit here and talk about who's right or who's wrong because you're cowards. You're cowards because you don't want to fight that real fight that we have today that we're doing over here on the Northeast. Because to acknowledge that those brothers just were kidnapped for operating in their nobility, their constitutional right to do.
But you can't.
Say it.
This is what bothers me.
Say it.
What bothers me is 1 minute you want to be enforcing the Constitution. The next minute you want to be under the nationality. You can't choose both. You can't serve two masters.
Islam.
You have to pick one.
Islam.
Because if you're picking one, pick the Moors. Moorish side, your Moorish nobility.
Islam.
Because that's not serving the Constitution is not going to get you where you need to be.
Nope. Because the Constitution is what?
It's a contract.
It's a contract commercially, right? People are not supposed to be operating in that. As it relates to their person. And I'm only talking about one person because only one person exists. The natural being. Right? The natural being. That corporate person is a fiction. Because that 14th Amendment was never ratified. It's not positive law, Moors. So you can't even be a so-called 14th Amendment citizen. So if you can't be a 14th Amendment citizen and the Dred Scott case said that you were not a citizen and could never be a citizen of that so-called union, you're not. You can never be. And the law supports that because you ain't supposed to be. Why, Moors? I just said why. Why are you not supposed to be operating under that as that? I know Fatima can answer it.
I ain't. Y'all better answer it.
Why? People, do you know the answer? I want to see if you answer the question. Do you know why you can't be a United States citizen? Do you know why you couldn't be? And Dred Scott was trying to tell you, and you want to know why the 14th Amendment was never ratified? Because it's not part of positive law, which means the Constitution said in its first 10 articles what you could and can't do. The Constitution said in its first 10 articles what you could and couldn't do. So you can't create a 14th Amendment that go against what the first 10 articles and 7 articles and 10 Bill of Rights said, which makes it a nullity, even if it was passed and it wasn't passed. Am I here? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I'm giving you fire. But I ain't need to give it to you. The Circle 7 gave it to you. He told you who you are. How are you in disagreements and dishonor? You ain't supposed to have fear, and you're supposed to stop sinning. That means stop following after these Albions against your own people. And that's what every incorporated Moorish Science Temple of America is doing right now, which is why they on social media vilifying us at the Moorish American Consulate, as well as vilifying those Moors who they should be supporting instead of sitting here showing shade. And you Moors should hold them accountable. Again, you're the people. And no so-called individual operating as a Negro, colored, and black has a nationality. They've abandoned it by the way they identify. That's why we sit here and say nationality is the order of the day. And if you ain't got one, you better get one, and you better get it real quick. Because everybody else, you ain't going to have a decision whether you want to take a COVID shot that's going to take you out of here eventually. And you scared to stand up for yourself, so you just go ahead and get the shot, and then you want to sit here and start promoting, oh, I got the shot. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Probably won't see you soon. And it's going to be because you willfully did that. You did it on your own.
Turned yourself into a meta-human.
Turned yourself into a meta-human. Whatever that is.
Medical-induced human.
There you go. Medical-induced human. Islam. And there's a lot of doctors that's going out there saying, y'all better y'all better not do it. And there's doctors who try not to do it themselves. They thought they wasn't going to fall on the sword. They thought they was going to go without getting the shot. Now they sitting here in court trying to say, oh, we can't get the shot. It's under, what you call it? It hasn't been tested by the FDA. Well, the FDA don't test much to the stuff that they put out anyway. Or the CDC. I don't know. They said with so much conflicting information out there. You can't even. And then you got Moorish talking about, well, it's a virus. Well, what virus you know they can't test you for? They can't test you for this virus. They're just seeing if your levels are high, if you got flu. Moorish, y'all got to get competent, right? We talked about a lot of things, but I want to stay on the task at hand on addressing all the smearing going on social media. And I wanted to wait to see what y'all would say, because I knew y'all was going to say some dumb stuff. That means all you journalists that are under, journalists in Incorporated Moorish Science Temples of America that are under, again, the Crown, the Vatican, and the Lord Mayor of London, based on your incorporation. Because the United States of America is a corporation. It's been incorporated. And you know it is because it's run by all Albions. Because it was supposed to be run by all Asiatics that are in their sovereign capacity, meaning they're nationals, not Negro, black, and colored. So again, I'm going to keep telling you that. You can sit here and get all happy because, you know, you see a melanated woman get, or son get elected in one of these so-called houses. Well, if they have not declared or proclaimed their nationality, they're still property of the U.S.A. And that property is either under the Queen, the Vatican, or the Lord Mayor of London. Who should have got liens by now?
And then you look at what they do when they give them. Hold on. You look at what they do when they give them these cards from the Moorish Science Temple of America. They have the children talking about, I'm a citizen of the USA, Noble Drew Ali.
And then they try to sit here and say, oh, well, USA means unity,
Salvation
Allah. Well, how do you know that? Because you didn't write unity, salvation, Allah. Why didn't you write unity, salvation, and Allah? And why did you just put U.S.A? Can mean a bunch of things. You got to put what you mean and mean what you say. Islam? So do we address everything? Because I could post validation as to all these Moorish Science temples being incorporated. And that means what? There's no such thing as a grand sheik or a sheik. Sheikhs. Because they're incorporated. Titles mean nothing there. And if you read the Constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple, what's it say? They're supposed to be making laws and enforcing it, right? Yep. Making and enforcing laws. Are they doing any of that? No, they're making and enforcing statutes because they are incorporated, because they are no longer sovereign, because they have a lord and they have a fee to pay. They have a lord and a fee to pay, and they get all their members who are so-called now back into United. So they got all these traps, Moors, to set you back into that
constitutional, that
corporate status. And no, the Constitution is a trust. The treaty is a trust. They all trusts, right? Are you going to be in that trust as a national, or are you going to be in that trust as a resident? Property. So, Moors, you just got to get competent. Did we address everything that we needed to address, or do we got to continue? Because I'm tired now.
They weren't even supposed to be amalgamated with the Pale
right? Oh, it says that. Says that, huh? We don't want to go there?
We ain't going there.
We don't want to go there? I know. Y'all can't handle much. That's why we give you spoonfuls. And that's why I don't even do Facebook Lives. I'm dealing with the website. Dealing with the back-end stuff of everything that needs to be done. There's a lot of back-end stuff that we need to get done. That's the website. That's the consular courts. That's the the Sharifians. I'm going to start that Sharifian peace officers. Number 6.
The end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. 6.
This is from the Holy Prophet, the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies number 6. We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth.
Not kind of man.
In the 13th Amendment, Section 12 says Africans cannot be citizens anyway.
Islam. Did y'all hear that? The 13th Amendment, which section was it?
Section 12.
Section 12 says Africans can't be citizens. Why did it say that, Moors? Do you know the reason? Do you know the answer? Type the answer. Let me see if y'all know it. I want to see who knows something on this platform. Why can't an African be a citizen of the United States? Therefore, if you have cards from these incorporated Moorish science temples that says you're a citizen of the United States or you're U.S.A, and they don't make that distinction what a U.S.A mean, you are a citizen. Why can't you be a citizen? That's what I want the answer to. I know it. Do you? Somebody posted. I want 3 people on this platform post. Why can't you be a citizen of the United States of America?
This is a fucking corporation, you jackass.
And we've been saying it all day today. Which is the only reason why the Albions can claim jurisdiction over you, can claim your property, your wealth, your nation, is because you're in breach of your duty. And I just read why. Do I gotta read it again? What page was that on? I done turned it off. 59? 59. I'm gonna read it again. The end of time and the fulfillment of the prophecies. Verse 6. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Neither serve the gods, this is lowercase, y'all, of their religion because they're fake. Because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed, nationality, for the redemption and salvation of mankind on the earth. They're not even supposed to have that, is what that just said. Ain't supposed to be no such thing as European. It's only one nation. It's only one nation, y'all. Why was it split into 2? Do you know the answer to that? We'll go through that later. What accompanies a lien to make it valid? Wow. What made that lien valid is the fact that you penned it, baby. What did you say? Let me tell you. What did you say? Who did you lien? Because we got like 5, 6, 7 liens to be doing. All these news articles promoting propaganda because they're agents in here under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. It ain't even registered. Did I talk about that? Did I say what I needed to say about that? Do we want to talk about it real quick? Do we want to talk about it? I think it needs to be known. I think all you real estate agents, all you attorneys need to know. You ain't got no status here.
Nope. You don't got a license.
You ain't got a license here.
You're in breach.
You're in breach. I hate when I can't find something. I'm gonna go to the website because I already posted it. Y'all probably didn't see it because I'm not putting no notifications. Your job as Moors and Moor subjects to sojourn is to go in there and see what liens been placed for you. Because that's why I came up with it. I ain't come up with it. There was a multitude of people. What's the website? What you mean, what's the website? That's all I talk about, the website. So you can stop calling me. What's the website, Fatima?
www.MoorishAmericanConsulate.org.
It's long. More to come because we're going to jump off of Facebook. We're going to jump off of all these platforms and go into our private platforms that's going to be all offered on social media so we can get rid of the haters and all the people who ain't about uplifting fallen humanity. Because we ain't got time to keep sitting here addressing ignorance and people at a legal disability to be talking. I know I ain't doing it. So let's find out what I said. I'm not even going to tell you what lane I'm reading it from. I'm not telling you. Go to the website and do some research. I'm tired of telling y'all everything. Give y'all all this stuff, and then I see people talking junk about me. Don't be talking junk about me. I take it personal. I'm just gonna say. And then I start banging that ass looking for your property on the website. Just saying. All your stuff is public. Nobody has to go stalk anyone. It's very easy. All right. So I created an addendum to the UCC1 lien. The UCC1 lien, I created an addendum, which is the International Affidavit of Written Initial Universal Commercial Code Financing Statement. It's an addendum to all of them to add. It's 2 pages, right? And if you get your documents recorded with us, If you get them recorded, there is a processing fee for recording it, because keeping the website up with all this information is costly, just so you know. So don't get offensive if we tell you that there is a financial charge for putting it on the website, because you should be supporting your government anyway. And we shouldn't have to ask you to do that. You should do it freely. Anyway,
told them that takes
finance. Yep. Don't nobody talk about that. The prophet did tell you takes finance to raise a nation. Does take finance, because paper's not cheap, ink's not cheap. Sending stuff out through mailing is we already talked about that.
Seals,
stamps, all that. So anyway, this is an addendum, and this is going to be on the website under the UCC1 liens. But I'm just going to read you what we wrote about and what has been added. And this is in relationships to all licensed individuals here at Morocco. You've all denationalized yourself through your licensing, and you don't overstand that. And if you want to have validation, read your license agreement. And here's my thing: post it. Post the copy on social media, so we can tell you what it means if you don't know what it means. Okay? No Moorish American national can be presumed to be a municipal citizen of the United States, nor responsible for the municipal corporation's debt owned to the British territorial government, owned and operated by, again, the Pope, the Queen, and the Lord Mayor of London. No lands in Morocco Empire can be misconstrued to be under the authority and jurisdiction of the British Commonwealth land title system. All agents working for or licensed to do business under the United States of America Incorporated are all foreign agents under the foreign powers of the British territorial government by way of the municipal corporation. That's to include all the Moorish science temples that have been incorporated, just so you know. That's why they talk against you, Moors. They're obligated to talk against you because of how they've aligned themselves. All such persons are in violation of the Foreign Agent Registration Act, Public Law 75-583, which requires them all to publish their status and register as a foreign agent. And to go into detail, a Foreign Agent Registration Act, the FARA, was enacted in 1938. FARA requires, which is the Foreign Agent Registration Act, requires certain agents of foreign principals who are engaged in political activities or other activities specified under the statute to make periodic public disclosure of their relationship with the foreign principals, as well as activities, receipts, and disbursements in support of these activities. Disclosure of the required information facilitates evaluation by this government, the Moors, the people, and the American people of the activities of such persons in light of their functions as foreign agents. Islam? So what am I saying? I'm going to finish reading, then I'm going to tell you. All undeclared foreign agents are acting against the actual government of this country by participating in these activities in gross criminal breach of trust in violation of your constitutional service contracts, which have thus been voided and terminated due to such breaches. All undeclared foreign agents are so commanded by the Moroccan government to register with the Moroccan Empire to continue to do business at Morocco effective immediately. All foreign corporations are to cease and desist all commercial activities until such time as they have been in compliance with the supreme laws of the land and the common law in this order. Islam? The Treaty of Peace and Friendship is a part of that such law. Look it up. It's on the website. All undeclared foreign agents are commanded. I just read that. Foreign agents who are working for any foreign principal government cannot at the same time, this is key, Moors, act as nation-state citizens and status that requires unique loyalty to the specific Moorish American nationals and sovereigns of the Moroccan Empire. As a state citizen, you cannot have a job or a license or conflict of interest obligating you to any other government. All real estate agents, insurance agents, FBI agents, FEMA agents, ATF agents, tax agents of all sorts, U.S. Marshals, medical directors, registered nurses, U.S. patent clerks, and bar attorneys, etc., because I did not list them all, and various other licensed professionals, all whom are acting as foreign agents because of that, who have not been fully informed of their status as such and most of whom have not registered as foreign agents and are currently doing business illegally, which is why we can lien you out of business. Obtaining a license changes your political status, Moors, and involves being conscripted as a U.S. citizen, property under the trust, and subjects to the Queen's government as a uniformed officer defined under Title 37 of the Federal Code. This lacking full disclosure voids these contracts. Absolutely it does, but you have to do it, and has resulted in these people operating unknowingly as foreign agents on our shores and in their being misdirected by corporate policy to take in part in the above mentioned repugnant activities, wreaking damages upon their employers in violation of their eminent commercial service contracts, which are the respective federal constitution, federal constitution, contract, service contract, and all in gross of breach trust. We call upon all parties, all said parties, to cease and desist, immediately all inappropriate interferences and trespass, all impositions of private, corporate, public policy on members of the public. We call upon the other principals in the high courts to order the immediate offsets of all public debts, because they're fake, so that the balance of the payments may be released and zeroed out, and everything and everyone may be relieved of this ridiculous presumption of debt in the midst of plenty. This is why so-called Biden and all these other people are sitting here trying to say, oh, we're going to give you stimuluses. They're only giving you what's yours, y'all. They're only giving you what's yours. They're only giving you what's yours. And how are they giving you what's yours? Because you contracted for them to be the intermediary as it relates to you getting access to your trust. Which is why we keep talking about trust law. So you understand what's really going on. Right? So they're only giving you what's yours. So you ain't getting nothing free. You're not getting, but they're going to put a fee on it because you're under their jurisdiction, yo. Right? You see how this works? You can still get those benefits without sitting here naturalizing as property under them, right? You understand what I'm saying? So it's so ordered on this day. This was particularly July 7, 2021, by this government, the Moorish National Republic, Federal Government, Northeast Amexem Territories and Dominions, that this was sent for an administrative clerk of a particular municipality down there in the Delaware County Media Courthouse for their breaches of trust and breaches of duty, doing business as the administrative clerk, and a bar attorney, of course, and a license number 52633. So you can look that up and find out who I'm talking about. For the municipal corporation. They're in violation. So knowing that every so-called attorney licensed dissolved their sovereign capacity as so-called state citizens, and they don't have the authority to have a court where you are required to attend. No authority, because they have foreign allegiance, because they licensed outside of their status. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Because I think I'm going to end on that. It's on this website. You can read it. But I'm going to put the template on there as well, because this is supposed to accompany your UCC1 liens. And you got to understand what is the reason for you to write your liens. So, for instance, this news reporter whose name, Nauman, I'm not going to share because she's at a legal disability for me to recognize her in any capacity outside of her corporate status. So I'm just going to make a lien. So the lien is going to be on a particular news outlet. I don't want to highlight the news outlet because I don't give free publicity. So the lien's going to have this on there, right? It's going to be attached. So, for instance, they made defamation of characters and warring against the state and the government and the laws by saying that there's no such thing as a treaty. And by making a presumption of an affiliation because of a non-response from me, I have the prerogative to talk to who I want and make comments with who I want to make comments to. And knowing darn well you were either under the Vatican, under the Queen, or under the Lord Mayor of London, I know you're going to spin it however you want to spin it. And you're not going to report the facts, because the reality is you could validate whether or not the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is still standing by doing your due diligence as it relates to your job. So you're not a journalist and you're not a reporter. You're here on assignment to throw shade and controversy on our empire because of your allegiance elsewhere. Commercially, right? So there's going to be a lien. And the company that lien will be a copy of that article that was defaming Moors and trying to make it seem like we are sovereign citizens. So you add to the lien as exhibit A, B, C, or D what they claimed to say, what they said, which was a lie. So she's already letting you know she's an idiot. She's incompetent. She doesn't know how to do her job by researching to find out the truth. Because if Rise of the Moors website led you to Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, what should have Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, when you did the research, should have automatically led you to the Moorish American Consulate.org website, where you can validate and substantiate everything that I say at law. So because you're incompetent to do your job and your due diligence, you've now voided any commercial activity you, as well as those principles that you work for, to continue to do business here, because we don't play games over here. We don't play games. Our job is to uplift fallen humanity, nationalize Moorish American nationals, as well as to put laws out there and hold people accountable for the laws. That's what it is, and that is Constitution and the bylaws for the Moorish American people, right? It's our job to make laws and enforce them. So we're supposed to have Sharifians. Where's the Sharifian peace officers? We started that. Do I have to start it again? Do I want to start with that? Do I want to end with that? We got to have a class for Sharifians, peace officers? You let me know. Tell me, do you want to have class once a week for Sharifian peace officer training? You let me know. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to see where the Moors go with that. Because it's your responsibility to uplift fallen humanity. It's your responsibility to know the laws. And it's also your responsibility to make sure those people operating on our land today do the same. And it's also your responsibility to find out if those individuals for the Rise of the Moors are declared Moorish American nationals. And if they are, it is all of our responsibility to assist them in honor and knowing what we're talking about. So that means send their nationality documents to Moorish American Consulate, so we can go send it over to the Consul General so he can do his job by helping get those Moors out. So if you send me a copy of their nationality documents as well as their nationality IDs. So send me a copy of their nationality documents and their nationality IDs, and we will send that information over to the Consular General to assist those Moors in getting emancipated from that POW camp, because they're in violation of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, as well as the Constitution for the United States of America. And I'm surprised there's no liens coming in that Moors have done. And I'm talking about coming from the camp of Rise of the Moors, because I don't know what's going on. Nobody's contacted me from Rise of the Moors as it relates to those Moors being detained. Islam, Pax et Amor, peace and love. I love you dearly. Definitely keep studying. Definitely keep operating in your nobility. Read the Circle 7. Read the Supreme Laws.
And make sure you check your information before you put it out.
And make sure you validate your information before you put it out. Because there's a lot more I could say, but I'm not here to smear anybody. I'm about uplifting fallen humanity. Somebody asked, who's the Consul General? Supposed to know that. Do I want to say? Nope.
I don't find it.
Find. Do a Google search. Who's the Consul General of the Moorish American Consulate? Find it. Islam Moors, Pax et Amor, love you kindly. Again, Islam is the study of self. It is not a religious creed. Love you. Pax et Amor.